State Attorney General Jeff Landry and United States Congressman Mike Johnson met with students yesterday at the Bossier Parish.
Good morning, 3 past 6, Robert and Erin, 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. Down there, Erin has local news, and she's up next.
Lots of nasty weather Friday night. We'll have roofers and insurance adjusters busy today. We'll talk more about that. A fatal shooting in Shreveport, and Facebook will get a grilling this week.
By the way, if you have your own standalone home somewhere in the Shreveport-Bossier area, the over-under on roofers, in verbal italics, that has knocked on your door, need me to get up on your roof and check, is 5.
That's unbelievable.
And if I said you want to go 2 out of 3, would you have any idea what I was talking about? I'll explain in a second. Fletcher in sports and traffic and weather, and it's all coming up this hour, and it's right here on KEEL.
Also responded to an early Sunday morning shooting at the intersection of Haywood Place and Alton Street. After the report, police found a man with minor wounds from the shooting at University Health Hospital. They are still looking for clues today. A group of Northwest Louisiana students met to defend their religious rights in school. State Attorney General Jeff Landry and U.S. Congressman Mike Johnson met with the students at Bipsy to discuss prayer in school. The Freedom Student Summit kicked off at 6 last night, where both politicians defended prayer in school and spoke of the constitutional rights to do so. A fire at a Keachai Baptist church has the local community stunned. The Mount Sinai Baptist Church was severely damaged by the fire late Saturday night. Fortunately, no one was hurt. An LSU survey finds 70% of state residents believe women face a lot or some discrimination in society, and that's a 7% increase from a year ago. Public Policy Research Lab Director Dr. Michael Henderson says most residents agree gender inequality is a real problem.
It has consequences on the lives of women in our society, and that, changes need to be made to deal with these issues.
Meantime, women's rights groups planning to march on Baton Rouge this week for equality. Senator John Kennedy will be on a panel that's set to meet with Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg this week. Kennedy told CBS on Sunday what he's hoping to achieve.
Facebook knows more about its business, its algorithms, its methodology than any of us in Congress do. I'm hoping that Mr. Zuckerberg will come to the table and say, okay, here are the problems. Here's some suggested solutions. Let's talk it through together.
The social media giant's boss will be facing questions regarding the influence of users' data in the 2016 presidential election. With school shootings now a regular occurrence, educators are learning how to become first responders. Over the past 5 years, some 125,000 teachers, counselors, and administrators have been trained in stemming blood loss following a mass shooting. Gas prices on the uptick. The average price for a gallon up 8 cents over the past couple of weeks to $2.74. Trilby Lundberg says it's driven primarily by higher crude prices.
This current price is about 30 cents higher than it was 1 year ago, and it, too, comes mainly from higher crude oil prices.
Your mileage may vary, though. The highest average price in the lower 48 states was in San Francisco at $3.63. The lowest, Baton Rouge, $2.37. Bill Cosby's sex assault retrial likely won't be anything like the first one. The first big celebrity trial of the Me Too era begins today in suburban Philadelphia. Kyle Busch takes the checkered flag at the Texas Motor Speedway, getting his first win of the season in the O'Reilly Auto Parts 500. Busch says he's glad things finally fell into place.
Trying a couple of months, I guess, after Daytona, we've just been on a roll of finishing really good and been really pumped and excited about that and the momentum we were able to carry, but frustrated at the same time trying to get the victory lane.
It was Busch's third win at Texas overall. A Florida woman blames a windy day for the cocaine police found in her purse. Kenesha Posey was one of 2 passengers in a car stopped by Fort Pierce police. Police say an officer smelled marijuana, then after searching the car, found cocaine and marijuana inside a purse Posey had on her lap. She told them, quote, "It's a windy day. It must have flown through the window."
Oh, that's me. 10 past 6 o'clock, 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Traffic update, first one of a new week. Here's Brandon.
Road.
AccuWeather.com forecast. Clouds and breaks of sun with a high of 70 today. Tonight turns out clear to partly cloudy, low 47. Sunny, high 70 for tomorrow. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zaire.
Men, are you tired of those days?
Good morning. It's 12 past 6 o'clock. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty, 101.7 FM and 710 Keel. Keel app, free download, Always Furniture Source. No need to use prepositions or articles or anything.
Get rid of them.
I'm shortening my language.
Streamlining.
I'm economizing my vocabulary.
I like that.
The first thing I thought of, the very
I know what you're going to say.
first thing I thought of in the middle of the hailstorm was, wait a second.
Someone has a new roof.
I know somebody, especially since I don't want to say everything's going wrong. It just would seem that
It's the money pit?
but it's not anybody's fault.
Well, yeah.
Other than maybe yours for
Yeah.
not having gone upstairs and checked the water heater for nigh on half a decade. Or,
Not quite that long,
felt
but-
compelled to wonder if you might have termites in the wall.
Oh, boy.
But the point being, we have less than a week after the roofers install your new roof, a hailstorm.
A monster of a
And
hailstorm.
all I thought of, if anybody is going, if anyone in the Arklatex is,
Going to have hail damage.
it's going to be you.
It's going to be me.
Because that's just the streak you're on.
I know. Luckily, my car was under the carport, so the car's fine.
Right.
The roof has yet to be determined by the roofing company, which will come out today.
How bad was the hail at your house?
The problem is I was gone for part of it. I was not at the home at the time. But when I got home, there was another wave of like pea size. So I'm praying it missed me. But I'm in the heart of that Broadmoor area, and I'm afraid it's not going to
See, mine wasn't, at my house, it wasn't bad.
Yeah, I'm hoping it wasn't bad. But you know, the good thing about this is that my next call to my insurance lady will be, guess what, Erin, you're covered. Which would be a good thing.
Erin, act of God, McCarty.
So
now,
but I do want to tell you that one of my dearest friends in the world owns a roofing company.
Oh, brother.
And she told me, beware of these people going door to door knocking. People really are doing that?
Nobody has been to my door yet. Nobody has knocked on my door.
Who has the means to do that?
People who want to charge you $5,000 to fix your roof.
But they're not, roofers are not coming knocking on your door. They know they're going to get your call, and they'll come see you.
My brother, who lives down by
Bickham-Dixon Park.
By Bickham-Dixon.
Yeah.
He has had no fewer than 4.
Come knock at his door?
Yeah.
Isn't that a gated community?
Yeah, well, it's open during the day.
OMG.
We'll climb up. We'll check the damage. If we find damage, you sign the contract now. Will you sign the contract now? You've got damage. Sign the contract. Here it is. I'll give you a deal. $2,000. $5,000.
Here's the other deal that I was told. Do not pay a roofing company in advance for anything. That a reputable roofer will do the work and then take payment. They won't even ask for half up front.
It should be like an insurance adjuster who gets up there, shouldn't it, before
an insurance
anybody else?
guy should come say and make sure you're covered. Yeah. You should get an insurance guy to check to make sure you're covered first.
Well, what I mean is, though, as far as determining damage.
Well, there are a lot of roofing companies who have relationships with the insurance adjuster.
Sure, of course.
And so they can get up and then they can call the adjuster and go, look, I'm blah, blah, blah with blah, blah, blah roofing, and I've got damage at this customer's house. They're insured by you, and they'll authorize them to go because they trust these roofing companies. They work with them. Not all of them have that relationship.
You know what somebody told me, and I don't know if this is true, but I had 2 different people tell me this. So the Shreveport Security Systems text line is 318-392-1884. Let me know if this is legit.
Mm-hmm.
That the way the insurance companies do it is like they prorate your roof on a 20-year basis, on a 20-year period. So let's say that you had your roof installed for $10,000 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
They'll cover $5,000 of it.
What?
Because your roof has half been used up.
Oh, I didn't know that. See, mine's brand spanking
Your
new.
roof is 6 days old.
Yeah, my roof is brand new, baby. It is a newborn. It is still at the teat.
If you need...
I could have phrased that differently.
No, you couldn't. If anybody is going to get a roof for free...
Yeah, it's
by God,
me.
It should be you.
I have the teat roof.
Now, let me tell you about the Jaguar.
This story is just incredible.
I'm just going to, for the sake of the tale, I will leave names out. My brother's state-of-the-art, well into 6-figure mileage Honda Civic, the chick magnet as he calls it, it sustained minor hail damage. It's going to be interesting to see across the Arklatex this week, across Shreveport and Bossier, what kind of, like how much damage was done to cars on the lots.
Mm-hmm. Oh, gosh. The hail sales are coming.
Hail sales, scratch and dent. Mm-hmm. So I have a friend of mine and some friends of mine, and their daughter was in town visiting from Colorado. Well, what she had done was fly into Dallas, rent a car, and drive over.
Okay.
So she gets to Dallas, and she goes to rent the compact or subcompact, whatever she had decided on for $20 a day, like the deal you always get.
Sure.
And I guess that either she had a free upgrade or like a $10 upgrade.
Yeah.
Or they didn't have the car that she had ordered or had requested.
Or she's a VIP customer. Who knows?
So they said, well, just take the $80,000 Jaguar.
Ooh, nice.
And
I don't ever get that deal.
Huh?
I don't ever get that deal.
Well, in this case,
you didn't want it?
Since the Jaguar was outside in the hailstorm.
Oh, Lord.
And has been, it looks like a golf ball.
Oh, my. It's got the little wobbly things?
It is dimpled almost beyond recognition.
Man.
Now, here's the deal. She, like most people do, just waived because it saves you $20 or $25 or $30.
Who buys the insurance company? I mean, the rental car company's insurance.
So she is on the hook for her deductible on her policy, which is about $750.
Oh, man.
Now
their insurance would have covered that?
The moral of the story is two things. When you check that box saying you don't want insurance, remember, it's like checking the box on Facebook. It actually means something.
Yes.
Okay? At least compare the insurance company deductible. I'm sorry, the car rental company's insurance deductible against yours.
Sure.
Know what yours is, because you never know. For 20, look, if she'd been able to get out of that for $150 or $200 deductible or less,
she's good. Yeah.
You don't think that's not worth the $20 or $25 extra you pay?
But whoever has a problem in a rental car, you know?
Well, an $80,000 Jaguar.
It's totaled?
That is totaled. So,
man.
Exactly. Okay. When I said you want to go 2 out of 3, I'm not talking WrestleMania. I'm not talking sports.
Okay.
You want to go 2 out of 3.
On what?
What right now in our lives, professional lives, is tied at 1 apiece?
What are we tied at?
We're tied 1-1.
1-1.
1-1. Do you have any idea?
No.
Go to break. I'll tell you when we get back. You'll go, oh, man, that's so true.
Oh, double or nothing?
19 past 6 o'clock. Not on this, no. 19 past 6, traffic update. Brandon's here.
It should be clear this morning, although there is still cleanup from a minor accident at North Market Street and North Hearn Avenue. So watch out for that, and if you see anything else, let us know. Call us on the Planet Fitness traffic hotline at 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Today, clouds will break for a little sun, high near 70. Turning out clear to partly cloudy, low 47 tonight, sunny, high 70 tomorrow. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zaire.
Take command of your lawn.
.101.7 FM, 710 KEEL, 622. Time for sports. Here's Fletch.
Good morning from the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger. This is Tim Fletcher. Patrick Reed, a former LHSAA state champ while at University High, won the Masters, holding off Ricky Fowler and Jordan Spieth to claim his first major championship. Reed finished 15 under par, one shot clear of Fowler, whose birdie on 18 turned up the pressure on Reed 2 holes back. Reed parred 17 after his birdie stab from 90 feet banged the flag, preventing a much longer par putt. But needing a 2-putt on 18 from 30 feet to win, Reed holed a slippery 4-footer to win for the 6th time ever on tour. Former champ Jordan Spieth charged up the leaderboard after beginning Sunday 9 shots behind Reed. Spieth tied Reed with a birdie on 16, but parred 17, and then his tee shot hit a tree limb on 18, and that left him too far back. He ended up bogeying 18 to finish 2 shots off the pace. Toronto homered twice in the first inning off Cole Hamels to grab a 4-0 lead on the way to a 7-4 win over the Rangers in Arlington Sunday. Charlie Morton didn't allow an earned run in 6 innings of work, and Max Stassi clubbed a 3-run homer to lead Houston to a 4-1 win over San Diego. From the sports desk of 11.
Nice job there, Sherlock. You figured it. You figured out what I was talking.
I did, didn't I?
101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. Robert and Erin, 625. So I got my call on Friday. Well, I mean, first of all,
no, you didn't. I did.
Well, actually, the general manager did, and then the operations manager did.
Yeah.
And then you did.
Yeah.
So evidently, John Bell's peeps, as the kids say, are John Bell's folks, the ones who troll the websites looking for insults,
right,
are far more concerned about his sanity than they are about his intellect. Because
I don't know.
When I questioned his sanity, I got 3 calls. When you questioned his intellect, you only got to 1.
That's true. That's true. Because you called the governor insane.
No, I asked the rhetorical question. Is the governor insane? Much in the same vein that you asked the rhetorical question.
Is the governor a moron?
Is the governor a moron?
They're mad at us.
Here's the deal. And you've heard me talk about this before. And in this early part of the 21st century in which we find ourselves, where nobody really ever apologizes, nobody really ever says, I'm sorry. In fact, you've heard me talk about before what I call your standard run-of-the-mill 21st century celebrity apology.
Yeah.
So what happened was we had State Representative Raymond Cruz on last week, and admittedly, I misspoke. Believe me, some days the distance between here, he said, pointing at his head, and here,
I'm with you,
pointing at his mouth.
I'm the queen of that.
That's what I was going to ask.
I do that all the time.
How many times in the course of a year do you think I really screw up and misspeak? Maybe 3?
I was going to say 5.
5 at the most.
Yeah.
Fair enough?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and this is what we're talking about now. If I misspeak 5 times in a year, how many times in the course of a week do you think you misspeak?
25. I'm 5 a day. I'm easily 5 a day.
I wouldn't go quite that far.
You wouldn't?
But I would say
2 a day?
I would say at least 3 to 5 a week.
You're giving me once a day? Well, that's sweet.
I'm that guy.
Okay.
When we had State Representative Cruz on last week, and we're talking about the special session that John Bell called again after the regular session is done. And in my head, this was the question. So, Mr. Raymond, they say that insanity, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. Now, here's where I started to come off the rails a little bit.
Yeah, you did.
Because in my head, I meant to say, is it crazy or is it insane to call another special session? But that's not what came out.
Not what you said.
What came out was, is the governor insane?
Mm-hmm.
Well, we have determined that there are a number of people or somebody who's just their job it is. In this case, it seems like a her.
Yeah.
To troll people's websites, listen to interviews that seem to have negative headlines or questionable headlines about your headline on the Raymond Cruz was Representative Raymond Cruz. John Bell is a one-term governor.
Yep.
So that's the kind of stuff they're looking for.
Mm-hmm. And this is what they heard. When they,
wait,
I want to play it. I want to play it.
I didn't ask for this.
I want to play it. Here we go. This is what Roberts said about the governor.
The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. Is John Bell insane?
I know.
Is John Bell insane?
I just quoted.
Holy moly!
I just quoted myself.
Yeah, I know you did.
They knew what I said. I own up to saying it. Now let me throw out for you at this point my 21st century apology. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
That's not who I am. I take responsibility for my actions. It's time to move on.
Oh, God.
Any questions? Any questions from the press corps? I didn't think so. Good. Let's move on. 29 past 6 o'clock, 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. That's what I was talking about, by the way, when I said we're tied at 1-1.
Yeah, we are.
And she figured it out during the break. I said we're tied.
Who's going to go to third?
1-1. It's 1-1.
You torqued them, though, man.
They called everybody.
They called our bosses,
and I called
which is okay.
I told a couple of stories. I told that story to a couple of friends, and one of whom will tell me if he thought I really screwed up. And he rolled his eyes, and his quote was, "Good Lord, Governor, take a freaking joke."
Oh, no, I called a good friend, too, who said, y'all went way beyond.
She's a professional political consultant.
I know.
Who's a Democrat.
I know.
29 past 6 o'clock, 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. I would have had a meeting. I wouldn't have been there. 29 past 6, here's Brandon.
Minor accident at North Market and Hearn Avenue. Other than that, it should be a very clear drive for you this morning. But if you see any kind of traffic incident whatsoever, let us know. Call us on the Planet Fitness traffic hotline at 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Clouds and breaks of sun with a high of 70 today. Tonight turns out clear to partly cloudy, low 47. Sunny, high 70 for tomorrow. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
Foo Fighters
was constitutionally obligated to present to the legislature earlier this year. As I made clear then, and I'll do it again now, it's not a budget proposal that I support, not one that I want to see implemented. It's the one that I was constitutionally obligated to give you. The fact of the matter is the realities of the looming fiscal cliff are reflected in this proposal, and not any fixes to that cliff. The cliff is caused because on June 30th, nearly $1.4 billion in revenue coming into the state will expire. This is a result of temporary measures that were passed by the legislature in both 2015 and 2016, primarily in 2016. Unfortunately, the House was unable to replace this revenue last year over the course of a regular fiscal session or in the special session that we called earlier this year. And I say the House because, as we all know, revenue instruments have to originate in the House. And we've had 2 sessions and not a single instrument crossed over from the House to the Senate that was designed to replace any of this revenue. It should be noted that I wasn't asking for net new revenue. In fact, I was simply asking for a part of the expiring revenue to be replaced. Despite the hard work of many members of both the House and the Senate in both parties, we left that special session having not solved our problems, and with the state facing a level of uncertainty that absolutely can do long-term harm. While we find ourselves here discussing a similar problem, this budget gap, I believe, is very different from previous years. The simple fact of the matter is the clock is running out. We have failed twice over the past year to end the problems that continue to plague our state. And most concerning to me, there continues to be a reluctance on the part of too many in the House, particularly in leadership, to recognize or deal with the budget at all. As most of you are aware, the Revenue Estimating Conference estimated that our state general fund budget shortfall for next year, the next fiscal year, stands at roughly $994 million. That is the difference in the current general fund forecast from this year to next, $994 million. That's what I want to replace. I want to replace $994 million of the $1.4 billion that's expiring. That represents a net reduction on the tax burden of the people of our state by almost $400 million, according to the plan that I had put forward. And since this budget was first presented to JLCB, there have been adjustments that we now expect REC to make and could address as early as next week. Most notably, the state anticipates an additional $302 million because of revenue changes made in Congress to the federal tax structure, and I think they did that in December. Accounting for that additional revenue, we will remain $692 million short of the revenue that we need to fund some of our most critical priorities, such as health care, higher education, law enforcement, and certainly TOPS. And so it is my belief that that is the number that we need to focus on now. We're getting a little ahead of ourselves because REC hadn't met yet, but I believe they're going to do that. And that number is $692 million. In addition to that, should the legislature replace this portion of the revenue, I would like for all of you to understand that the state budget would still be cut by more than $120 million state general fund. Meaning, if we fix the cliff as I have defined it, there is still a budget cut of more than $120 million in state general fund. Also, the standstill budget contemplated by the legislature last year would require about $200 million more than I am proposing to you all in my plan. And that is the difference between a standstill budget that basically seeks to hold still the programs and services of state officers or hold still the amount of revenue. My plan is a standstill from a revenue perspective. Further, the House Fiscal Division estimates that from the last fiscal year to the current fiscal year, we have cut $200 million in state general fund spending. So if your goal is to lower the tax burden on the people of Louisiana, the plan to do that is on the table. If your goal is to make spending cuts, if we're able to replace the expiring revenue, this budget will do that for the second year in a row, in fact. If you want to continue to realize substantial savings, that plan too is on the table. In short, if you want to, we can fashion a balanced, responsible budget that funds our most critical priorities while still making cuts that are not nearly as deep, devastating, or widespread as the ones we're facing with the proposal that is before you today. And as you all know, it's relatively easy to talk about cutting spending until you begin to realize what really happens is you cut services that people depend upon, from our most vulnerable children to elderly in nursing homes, to universities and technical colleges, to TOPS, you name it, the reductions are there. Our ability to spare critical priorities from cuts in this executive budget proposal is limited only to the Department of Veterans Affairs, our military department and Inspector General, as well as the Department of Children and Family Services. These are important services that I'm proud to protect, but it doesn't begin to scratch the surface of the many other priorities that I know we would all like to adequately fund. Beyond that, there's a $9.6 billion in
Us, the Bryson Law Firm.
So at the end of the day, 637, 1017 FM and 710 KEEL, Robert and Erin. At the end of the day, what do you think is the purpose of somebody in the governor's office, or at least in the governor's press office, who looks at websites across the state, media websites, anything that might smack of something negative, they listen, and if they don't like it, they call? What do you think the purpose of that is?
Well, I got the impression from his people that they didn't listen. They heard they were told that you called him insane.
No.
They got a call.
No.
She said they got a call.
No, I don't question that. No. Let's clarify. In much the same way, you didn't call him a moron.
Right.
I didn't call him insane.
No, you're right.
You asked if he were a moron.
Sure.
I asked if he might be insane. Okay? But here's the deal, and it's nothing more than this. They pick up the phone, they call, they sound a little ticked off about something that in the scheme of things doesn't matter a damn.
Right.
Because in the back of their minds, no, much more to a greater degree, in the back of yours, next time you might say or write something negative about the governor, you might think twice.
That's what they want. That's all they want. They want us to be a little more careful about when we're talking about the governor. And I told them, I said, we're not going to agree with the governor on a lot of things.
You know, Erin, this is the second time we've had to call about something like, you're not my dad.
What beef do y'all have with us, they say? What beef do you have? We've always tried to cooperate with you guys.
This is the second
Why are you out to get the governor?
This is the second time we've had to call about something.
You
didn't have to. You could have let it go, because let me tell you, the governor, just like with your moron remark, the governor has no more idea. He has no idea this ever happened.
He was told about it later.
Right, sure.
And I did apologize.
On the moron thing?
Yeah.
When he called, he didn't know.
No, he said, and I'm not going to name the name, but he said so-and-so told me about it on the House floor. So I heard about it, and he was a little miffed. But he's got way thicker skin than his staff. He knows he's the governor. He's going to get called names.
They don't care about you and me. They care about protecting his guy. And like I said,
that's what their job
they care
is.
about maybe next time, maybe somewhere down the line, in that blink of an eye, you'll think twice. No, wait. I'll think twice.
Maybe.
No, wait. We'll think twice. 639, 1017. Wait, geez. But it's tied at 1. Who's going to win the best 2 out of 3?
I'm betting me.
639, traffic time. Brandon's here on KEEL.
For the most part, your drive through the Shreveport-Bossier City area should be clear this morning, although there is still cleanup from a minor accident at North Market Street and North Hearn Avenue. So watch out for that, and if you see anything else, let us know. Call us on the Planet Fitness traffic hotline at 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Clouds and breaks of sun with a high of 70 today. Tonight turns out clear to partly cloudy, low 47. Sunny, high 70 for tomorrow. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zaire.
When we talk about keeping the best and brightest in Louisiana, we literally are talking about Stephen and students just like him. Unfortunately, he and his family are weighing the option of attending a university out of state, specifically the University of Alabama, because not only will he be eligible for a better that we need to focus about $200 million more than I am proposing. My plan is a standstill from a revenue, and that is the difference between a standstill budget. Also, the standstill budget contemplated by the legislature last year. And that is the difference between a standstill budget that basically seeks to hold still the programs and services the state offers, or hold still the amount of revenue. My plan is a standstill from a revenue perspective. Further, the House Fiscal Division estimates that if your goal is to lower the tax burden on the people of Louisiana, the plan to do that is on the table. If your goal is to
I don't mean to beat this governor thing in the ground, but I got one more story about it if you want.
Go right ahead.
101.7 FM and 710 KEEL 642, Robert and Erin. So just to catch you up, I got my call from the governor's office last week. Fortunately for me, they don't call me. They called everybody above me.
Mm-hmm.
So they called, would they make like 3 calls or something?
Yeah,
like
they did.
They
sent some emails.
Yeah.
And you know what? I don't think our bosses called them back. I think they just left messages and left voice. And they said McCarty's handling it.
Yeah.
So they left it in my hands.
Yeah.
So I threw your butt under the bus.
Thanks. That's it's okay. It's what you got to do.
If they call back today, what do I tell them?
Don't take the call.
No, I'm taking the call.
Well, then you tell them what you want. Seriously?
Yeah.
My official statement. Here's
your
Robert's
statement.
Here is Robert's official statement.
Yeah.
That's not who I am.
It's not who I am.
I take responsibility for my actions. It's time to move on.
I'll tell them that.
That's literally, that is the standard celebrity or politician who paints their life into a corner.
Yeah.
Apology.
Right.
That's not who I am.
Okay. I take responsibility for my actions.
I take responsibility for my actions. It's time to move on.
Okay, there's no apology in there.
Well, it's time to move on.
Was it disrespectful what you said?
That's not who I am.
That's not who you are.
No,
okay.
no, and it's time to move on.
I'm going to do a little experiment. Okay.
Do you have any more questions? Are there any more questions from the press corps?
You know the governor's not insane. Why would you call the governor insane?
That's not who I am.
You called him insane.
It's time to move on.
Why did you call him that?
It's time to move on.
Do you have something against him?
I take responsibility for my actions. But it's time to move on. I think we can all agree that it's time to move on.
Yes.
But that's not who I am.
Is this going to happen again, Robert?
I admit that's not who I am.
Could this happen again?
I take responsibility, but it's time to move on.
Okay, let's do a high-low bet. You ready?
And at some point, I start to tear up.
Yeah, I know. Oh, there you go. There you go.
John Bell.
And Gloria Allred's going to come out?
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Let's do an experiment. Let's put in a request every week for the governor to come on our show. Let's see how many weeks it takes. What are you betting? 4 weeks and above? 4 weeks and under?
Oh, under.
Oh no!
If he has something to sell, if he has something to pitch, he's
still coming back. You don't think we're put on the do not call list?
No.
You don't think?
No, there's an election coming.
I think
up.
we're probably put on it. I think we're on it for a little while.
If we did not, here's the deal, and I said this to somebody over the weekend, is that you and I, at heart, well, me especially, I'm just still a disc jockey. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so there have been a couple of instances where we have dealt with political people, and we did not anticipate how incredibly serious they take this.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, this is blood sport to these people.
And some of them are ultra sensitive.
This is their kingdom. This is their power. This is their, God, I'm going biblical. This is their pain and their glory. And they come at you with all guns blazing.
Oh, absolutely.
And there have been a couple of times we did not anticipate this. Well, there's an election coming up this fall. There's lots of elections coming up really damn soon.
Yeah.
So I would suspect that the sensitivity will grow even greater. Now,
but you're a politician. You got to have thick skin. And if you manage a politician, you got to have thick skin. They're going to get called names.
Yes,
that's the way it goes.
Well, I said this to somebody else this weekend. I said, how many when Moon calls him a liar 4 times in the first 6 minutes of his show today. Do you think they're going to call Moon? No. They think we can be intimidated and or influenced. They know they can't get to Moon.
Right.
We're sort of the new guys on the block. They don't know how we'll respond. They don't know how we'll react.
Yeah.
They just want to be sure, which in fact we have always been when he is on with us.
We are fair.
We are fair with him. We are respectful when he's here.
I mean, he sang you happy birthday. That's not going to happen this year for you, Robert, I don't think.
So there's a website, there's a page on Facebook called I Was a Disc Jockey When Disc Jockeys. It's an old DJ website for like guys who have been in radio a long time. And I've told you before, I have a friend of mine. We haven't seen each other in a million years, but we touch base every couple or 3 years. And his name is Fritz Coleman, and he's the weatherman at KNBC Channel 4 in Los Angeles.
Oh, wow.
Yes. Yeah, he's been there.
What happened to you?
He's been there for that. We're coming to this. So he's been there for 30-something years.
Oh, my.
And so you figure for 30 years, he's raking in about $1 million a year.
Fritz is the...
And then on the weekend, he does stand-up comedy around Los Angeles, and he's in his middle to late 60s. He is literally, he's Bob Griffin of Los Angeles TV.
Oh, my.
He's a TV legend in
He's the
LA.
man, yeah.
So he shoots me a text this weekend off of this website because we had both commented on the same post. How you been? What you been up to? And he's telling me, well, I just wrote a play, and I've got 2 stand-up gigs this weekend, and, you know, I just signed a new contract, and I figure he's making about $1 million a year, right?
Oh, yeah.
And he said, here's how I'm doing this, not in a braggadocious way, but just like
Catch up, yeah.
So I wrote a play. I'm doing such and such a benefit. I'm MC at the Hollywood Bowl.
Yeah.
I just signed a new 2-year deal. What's up with you?
You MC the Nutria races, don't you?
I texted back. I got a call from the governor's office. 649, 1017 FM, 710 KEEL traffic update coming up right now. Here's Brandon, and he's live on KEEL.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Clouds and breaks of sun with a high of 70 today. Tonight turns out clear to partly cloudy, low 47. Sunny, high 70 for tomorrow. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zaire.
Right now, 52 degrees, 1017 FM and 710 KEEL. On the guest list for a little bit later this morning, Bishop Larry Brandon from Praise Temple and AG Jeff Landry.
So if your goal is to lower the tax burden on the people of Louisiana, the plan... So if your goal is to lower the tax burden on the people of Louisiana, the plan to do that is on the table. If your goal is to make spending cuts, if we're able to replace the expiring revenue, this budget will do that for the second year in a row, in fact. If you want to continue to realize substantial savings, that plan too is on the table. In short, if you want to, we can fashion a balanced, responsible budget that funds our most critical priorities while still making cuts that are not nearly as deep, devastating, or widespread as the ones we're facing with the proposal that is before you today. And as you all know, it's relatively easy to talk about cutting spending until you begin to realize what really happens is you cut. We can fashion a balanced, responsible budget that funds our most critical priorities. If you want to continue to realize substantial savings, that plan too is on the table. In short, if you want to, we can fashion a balanced, responsible budget that funds our most critical. If you want to, we can fashion a balanced, responsible budget that funds our most critical. If you want to, we can fashion a balanced, responsible budget that funds our most critical priorities while still making cuts that are not.
It is 8 before 7 o'clock. KEEL Sports.
Good morning from the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger. This is Tim Fletcher. Patrick Reed, a former LHSAA state champ while at University High, won the Masters, holding off Ricky Fowler and Jordan Spieth to claim his first major championship. Reed finished 15 under par, one shot clear of Fowler, whose birdie on 18 turned up the pressure on Reed 2 holes back. Reed parred 17 after his birdie stab from 90 feet banged the flag, preventing a much longer par putt. But needing a 2-putt on 18 from 30 feet to win, Reed holed a slippery 4-footer to win for the 6th time ever on tour. Former champ Jordan Spieth charged up the leaderboard after beginning Sunday 9 shots behind Reed. Spieth tied Reed with a birdie on 16, but parred 17, and then his tee shot hit a tree limb on 18, and that left him too far back. He ended up bogeying 18 to finish 2 shots off the pace. Toronto homered twice in the first inning off Cole Hamels to grab a 4-0 lead on the way to a 7-4 win over the Rangers in Arlington Sunday. Charlie Morton didn't allow an earned run in 6 innings of work, and Max Stassi clubbed a 3-run homer to lead Houston to a 4-1 win over San Diego. From the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger, this is Tim Fletcher.
This is a
And as you all know, it's relatively easy to talk about cutting spending until it's relatively easy to talk about cutting spending. No, it's relatively easy to talk about cutting spending until you begin to realize.
.654, 1017 FM, 710 KEEL. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. The Shreveport Security Systems text line is 318-392-1884. Got a couple of questions like, no, Matt's not gone forever. Ruben's here today. He's just, Matt's gone until Wednesday. He'll be back Wednesday morning.
Yeah, he'll be back Wednesday.
Because he went to WrestleMania in New Orleans. I'm sorry?
WrestleMania.
How many people do they have there?
Oh,
like about 102,000?
Huge. Huge. New Orleans was just slammed with WrestleMania fans all weekend.
Oh, yeah.
It's
the
a monstrosity of an event.
Economically speaking, as Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungesser said to us last week, economically speaking, impact-wise, the second largest sporting event right behind the Super Bowl.
Yes, absolutely.
That's how much money it produces for whoever gets it.
People flock there from all over the country.
A friend of mine said this weekend, I don't get it, man. It's just pretend fighting. and look, yeah. Okay, somewhere, here's 2 terms, and I want you to tell me, imagine you've got 0 at this end, and it's on a 1 to 10 scale. At 0, you've got pretend fighting. At 10, you have live action theater. Which of those two is it?
Ooh, it's a combination.
Now, Matt would say it's live action theater.
Yeah.
I mean, did you see Ronda Rousey? Have you seen the video of Ronda Rousey on there? It's pretty awesome.
Is it?
Look at some of the Facebook. Look at Matt's page. Look at Greg's page. Look at Jay Watley's page. They were all 3 there last night. Greg's wife took video of him and his 2 sons.
His boys. That is incredible.
All 3 of them. Just like, just gasping for air at all of this.
They can't believe what they're seeing.
Here
I know.
At this live action theater or pretend fighting.
It was monstrosity.
6:56. Here's Rush on KEEL.
Listen, I know.
As a matter of fact, Matt, our producer, to this weekend in New Orleans, or WrestleMania, as it is referred to. This, the sport of maker.
No, and neither did I until I went to the press conference last year. I saw a press conference like nothing else. The smoke and the lights and these giants walking out on stage. And to compare it, it is second. It is second in revenue only to a Super Bowl. So that gives you an idea of the impact, the economic impact for a city or a state where this event.
However,
it was in Orlando for 4 days, had an impact of $181 million, and this year it is stretched to a 5- and 6-day event, so people.
If you want to, we can fashion a balanced, responsible budget that funds our most critical priorities while still making cuts that are not nearly as deep, devastating, or widespread as the ones we're facing with the proposal that is before you today.
For the most part, your drive through the Shreveport-Bossier City area should be clear this morning, although there is still cleanup from a minor accident at North Market Street and North Hearn Avenue. So watch out for that, and if you see anything else, let us know. Call us on the Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
.659, here's your KEEL forecast. Kind of sunny and a little warmer today, near 70. Right now, 51 degrees at KEEL.
Breaking news and trending talk. This is 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. KEEL, Shreveport. The KEEL Morning Show with Robert.
It is 7:03. Robert and Erin, 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. KEEL app's a free download from Office Furniture Source. Miss Erin, local news coming up next.
A busy day for roofers and insurance adjusters. We'll talk about that. WWE is a wrap in New Orleans. Quite an impact. And the Facebook CEO to get a grilling. Our senator will be one of the grillers.
Speaking of roofers, a lot of less than, what's the word I'm looking for? Less than honest roofers.
Oh, man, no kidding.
Or pretend to be roofers.
Yeah.
The over and under is 5.
Unbelievable.
The average unsolicited knocks on your door. We'll talk about that just a bit more, plus Bishop Larry Brandon from Praise Temple in a couple of minutes. And later this hour, hopefully State Attorney General Jeff Landry and Representative Mike Johnson. So that ought to be pretty awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Fletcher in sports and traffic and weather, and it's coming up this hour, and it's right here on KEEL.
The power of information. KEEL News now.
Roofers will be busy today. Widespread hail reported across the region Friday night. There was also a tornado in DeSoto and Red River parishes. No one hurt, but there have been reports of damage across the region from the EF2 tornado. Also, insurance adjusters will be busy as well. Governor John Bel Edwards made his budget case before the Senate Finance Committee on Sunday.
If you want to, we can fashion a balanced, responsible budget that funds our most critical priorities while still making cuts that are not nearly as deep, devastating, or widespread as the ones we're facing with the proposal that is before you today.
The Finance Committee meeting again today. WWE is a wrap in New Orleans. Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungesser telling KEEL News will feel the impact across the state.
To compare it, it is second in revenue only to a Super Bowl. So that gives you an idea of the impact, the economic impact for a city or a state where this event is held. Last year it was in Orlando for 4 days, had an impact of $181 million.
Shreveport police responded to a shooting just before 3 a.m. Sunday morning on Brantway Street. One man was found on the scene with several gunshot wounds. He later died. Police are investigating and urge you to contact Crime Stoppers if you have any information. Facebook boss Mark Zuckerberg set to testify before Congress this week. Senator John Kennedy will be part of the hearings, and during an interview on Face the Nation on CBS, he explained what bothers him the most.
My biggest worry with all this is that the privacy issue and what I call the propagandist issue are both too big for Facebook to fix. And that's the frightening part.
The social media giant's boss will be facing questions regarding the influence of users' data in the presidential election. An LSU survey finds 70% of state residents believe women face a lot or some discrimination in society. That's a 7% increase from a year ago. Dr. Michael Henderson says the survey also showed that nearly 3/4 of the respondents say elected officials accused of sexual harassment or assault by multiple people should resign.
Republicans are a little less likely to say that these elected officials should resign. But I will say, even among Republicans, the majority, over 60%, do still say so, and then Democrats are even higher.
Now, women's rights groups planning to march on Baton Rouge. We get more from Reuben Wright.
Over 20 women's groups and organizations will be in Baton Rouge this week starting April 11th, confronting the state about gender equality. Their aim is to discuss certain bills that will help women in Louisiana. These bills cover things such as domestic violence incarceration and raising minimum wage. From 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, I'm Reuben Wright.
A group of Northwest Louisiana students met to defend their religious rights in schools. State Attorney General Jeff Landry and Congressman Mike Johnson met with the students at BIPSI to discuss prayer in school. The Freedom Student Summit kicked off at 6 last night, where both defended prayer in school and spoke of the constitutional rights to do so. A fire at a Keachai, Louisiana Baptist church has the local community stunned. The Mount Sinai Baptist Church was severely damaged by fire late Saturday night. No one was hurt. A formal complaint being filed today accuses Google of collecting your personal data, in fact, data from children under age 13, without parental consent. I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Hey there, it's Robert.
The power of information. KEEL News now.
Roofers. Is it up? There we go. I've got to restart that.
The power of information. KEEL News now.
Roofers and insurance adjusters will be busy today. Widespread hail reported across the region Friday night. Now, there was also a tornado in DeSoto and Red River parishes. No one hurt, but there have been reports of damage across the region from the EF2 tornado.
9 past 7 o'clock, 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL traffic time. Here's Brandon.
There is still cleanup from a minor accident at North Market Street and North Hearn Avenue, so watch out for that. And if you see anything else, let us know. Call us on the Planet Fitness traffic hotline at 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Clouds and breaks of sun with a high of 70 today. Tonight turns out clear to partly cloudy, low 47. Sunny, high 70 for tomorrow. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zaire.
The power of information. KEEL News. The power of information.
9 past.
Across the region Friday night, hurt, but there have been reports of hail. Governor John Bel Edwards made his budget case before the Senate Finance Committee on Sunday. Tornado. Governor John Bel Edwards made his budget case before the Senate Finance. Governor John McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Good morning. It's 11 past 7 o'clock, 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. Robert J. Wright, Erin McCarty, KEEL app, free download from Office Furniture Source. A gentleman, a friend, a feller we ain't had on in a while, Bishop Larry Brandon from Praise Temple. Mr. Larry, how are you this morning?
Very well. Great hearing your voice. Thank you so much for having me. I miss you too.
You know, Matt is, well, when Erin was on vacation, I said, are you free for a couple of days? And you were, I guess you were in Oklahoma for a while and then in California.
Yeah. Yes, I was in Oklahoma. You know, I'm in the doctoral program at Oral Roberts University.
And now it was sort of our fill-in producer, Reuben, who called you, and it wasn't Matt. And Matt will be devastated that he didn't get a chance to talk to you. So if it's okay with you, we just won't mention that you were here, if that's all right.
Wallace.
You're hosting a big town hall tomorrow. Tell us what that's about, where it is, and who needs to be involved.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity to share. Tomorrow, the Northwest Louisiana Community Development Corporation is hosting an educational town hall meeting. We're concerned, like everyone else, about the future. Of course, the past and the present will be discussed, but the future of the educational system statewide for our children. And so tomorrow at Praise Temple, we have the Dr. Goree, our superintendent of Cattle Parish. He will present and to share the happenings in Cattle Parish, and also he will explain some of the changes that's being made statewide that's been passed down from Superintendent John White, our state superintendent. And then also we have some school board members that's going to be on hand. They're going to serve on the panel. And during the question and answer period, the community will be able to ask questions directly to our school board members, and many of them will be in place to share. So we want to brief the entire community, and we want everyone involved. We want grandparents, we want preachers, we want politicians, public servants, other educators, and especially the children, to bring them out to experience, to hear, and to ask questions. And of course, we're not coming in to challenge or to disrespect, but we're really coming in to ask questions because we want to hear from our superintendent. We want to hear from our school board members, and then we want to come up with some possible solutions. And the main thing is involvement, and that's where I come in. I want to engage the community to get involved, because we have some of our citizens that are retired that can support some of our children. I want to engage some of the parents that are working several jobs. They can work with the churches or community groups and to pair up with some of our, which I refer to as seasoned citizens instead of senior citizens, where they can pair up with some grandma or grandpas who are retired, who would love to go to the schools and check on our children.
Larry, let me ask you this.
It's about our children.
You're well connected in our community. You know the situation with our schools. What is your number one concern with regard to sending Johnny off to his public school today?
Well, my number one concern is that equality in education. And that's just it, that every school, I'm grateful for magnet schools, but all of our schools should be magnet schools, if you would, or have that mentality. So all of our children are being educated and pushed. But it begins at home because, again, the teachers can teach, but if you have a child that lacks discipline, then there's some challenges there. And we have some great educators in Cattle Parish. And, of course, every system has its bunch, but we want to be involved to make sure all of our children are educated. And my number one concern is that we're not competing. Cattle is not competing with Bossier Parish competing with DeSoto Parish. I want our children to compete with China, to compete with India and other nations. We want our children to be prepared for the world. We want our children to have a global mentality mindset and not just a local mentality mindset. I want our children to be prepared for the world.
You sort of beat me to my next question, because you and I have known each other for some time, and you are a big discipline and personal responsibility guy, right?
Absolutely, I appreciate it. Yeah.
And one of, I would think, the purposes of this town hall meeting tomorrow night is to say that sort of the education of the kids, I don't want to say goes both ways, but yeah, goes both ways, that there is a responsibility in the home to prepare the children for the classroom, right?
Oh my gosh, yes, indeed. And I mentioned that yesterday in our worship experiences, that it begins at home. There's some things that we can do with our children. I serve on the Step Forward board, and served as one of the founding charter board members for the board. And it's important that our parents are getting involved. And then there are those single parents that are challenged. However, that's why it says some community, using the village principles, the community get involved, our CDCs, our churches, and our seasoned citizens can get involved in health care for the child. But absolutely, it begins at home. Discipline is so key, and I've shared that yesterday with some of our leaders, that we have to really get it to our parents that we really need our children to be disciplined, and that there are those who are acting out because of different circumstances that they grew up with, and that's why the wraparound services are very, very important, after school programs and some of the things going on, so our children can go and learn, and not to distract, because without discipline, there's distraction. The educator has to pause and handle the discipline area, and so everyone suffers. So it does. It begins at home, and also with the education. When you go out shopping with your child, grocery shopping, especially the little ones, ask them, what is an apple? What color is an apple? Apple begins with what letter? And we can begin that way. And then the high schoolers, middle schoolers, let them do the shopping and picking out and finding. It's all educational, and it begins at home.
Your event, Town Hall, tomorrow evening. Tell us where, what time, and who's invited.
Well, thank you so much. It's at Praise Temple tomorrow. It begins at 6 p.m. The community is invited, not just Cattle Parish. We're inviting Bossier Parish, DeSoto Parish, any concerned citizen is involved to come tomorrow, but especially the parents, and to bring out your children to ask questions. Our children are precious commodities, if you would, and we really need to get involved in the future of our children, because, again, I want Louisiana's children to compete with the world and not just compete with the various parishes, the 64 parishes within Louisiana.
Bishop Larry Brandon, thank you so much for your time. Look forward to seeing you soon.
Very soon, Luke, and thank you both. I really appreciate you. Do know you're in my sincere prayer.
Please do, because I'm in the middle of a money pit home restoration today. Say a prayer for me, please.
There's not that many candles in your church, my friend. What's that glow on Greenwood Road? It's Larry praying for Erin.
Thank you, Larry. Take care.
Take care. God bless.
19 past 7 o'clock, 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. The latest traffic. Here's Brandon.
A minor accident on East Kings near Captain H.M. Shreve Boulevard has things slowed down in that area. Otherwise, looks like driving is mostly clear in the Shreveport-Bossier City area at this time. But if you see something, make sure you let us know. Call us on the Planet Fitness traffic hotline at 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Clouds and breaks of sun with a high of 70 today. Tonight turns out clear to partly cloudy, low 47. Sunny, high 70 for tomorrow. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
Credit products are made by WebBank. Rates and
21 past 7 o'clock, time for KEEL Sports. Here's Fletch.
From the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger, this is Tim Fletcher. Patrick Reed, a former LHSAA state champ while at University High, won the Masters, holding off Ricky Fowler and Jordan Spieth.
24 past 7 o'clock, 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. KEEL app, a free download from Office Furniture Source. It's on the KEEL Facebook page. I just wrote, RJW here. I have friends who have had as many as 5 quote-unquote roofers knocking on their doors unsolicited. You know, I had a storm, and I'm a real professional roofer. Don't let the horse-drawn wagon out front fool you. It's just I'm a little down. I'll climb up on your roof, but will you sign the contract now?
Yeah, sign here. What I'm going to do, we want folks to comment on this. I want to know where these scammers have been going, what neighborhoods they've been going to. I'm working on a news story.
Over, I would imagine.
So I need to know your comments on this Facebook post, and what part of town you're in, how many scammers came to your door. So somebody who makes a comment on our Facebook post today, on that post, on the roofer's post, please be honest. Just let us know what neighborhood has a scammer come to your door. Somebody who makes a comment, I'm going to just pick you out at random, and you're going to win 4 tickets to, what's that big event in New Orleans? WrestleMania? No, not WrestleMania.
Not WrestleMania.
Jazz Fest. Yeah. Got 4 tickets to Jazz Fest for you. Somebody who makes a comment on that post, because I want to see how many neighborhoods were impacted.
It says, I have friends who have had as many as 5 roofers knocking on their doors unsolicited.
Unbelievable.
Have any of you had anyone you thought might be a scammer coming to your home? And add to that, and what part of town are you in?
Yeah, what neighborhood?
So somebody I know just had a new roof installed about a week to 10 days ago.
Yes, I have a very pristine virginal roof.
Do you still?
I do.
Or has it been banged by hail?
I'm not certain on the hail damage. I've got a roofer coming today.
Really?
Tina with Gold Star sending her folks back up. They put the roof on, so they're coming back to check it.
The deal is this, is that you have undertaken, how long has it been, like about 30, 45?
March 2nd, not that I'm counting.
So it's a little more than a month.
Yeah.
Where you literally had, because of necessity and some because of choice, are having your whole house redone. And it seems like every couple of days they find, with legitimacy, you must admit, something more that needs to be done. Like, who knew you had termites until they moved the wall?
Yeah.
Yeah, well.
They start to sand the final wall they get to. Would it be? So that's all done.
Would it be fair to say, without mentioning amounts, would you give us a percentage of how much over budget you've gone?
Oh, 10%, 10 to 15% over budget.
So you're not exactly the.
I'm dipping into my furniture fund now.
You're not exactly the train in California.
No, but see, I set aside amount for remodeling, and then I set aside an amount for new furniture, and I'm thinking I'm going to have to be on beanbag chairs now because my furniture fund is now being dwindled. And I had a sofa I was looking at over at Johnson's Furniture, and I really wanted it, but I'm thinking I'm stuck now.
You get bean bags, I'll buy you a couple of lava lamps to top everything
Maybe
off.
a futon I can afford. I don't know.
28 past 7 o'clock, 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. Will both gentlemen be in studio at 7:40? Do you know?
Yes, it's exciting. Congressman Mike Johnson is going to be joined by Jeff Landry, the state attorney general. They had their big prayer event for schools, and they're going to join us in studio here in a few minutes.
They were both in town last night at that BIPSI event, and I had a couple of friends who knew that they were both in town. Well, that Mr. Jeff was, and I don't know if we'll get into this at all. Probably not, but he is his name. When you start mentioning Republican candidates for the governor's race,
sure,
he and Mr. Kennedy are at the forefront, the vanguard at the top of the list. 29 past 7 o'clock, 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Were you waving again? Do you have
I just
something?
wonder if we called him insane, would he be so hurt?
Well, not yet.
And if we called him a moron, would he be so hurt?
You didn't call John Bell, the current governor, you didn't call him a moron.
I just asked if he were a moron.
And it was the heat of the moment.
Yes.
And
you didn't call him insane. You just asked if he were insane.
It was the heat of the moment. And would you like to hear my apology again?
Yeah, please.
That's not who I am. I take full responsibility. It's time to move on. 29 past 7 o'clock, 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL, the latest Monday morning traffic. Brandon's here.
For the most part, your drive through the Shreveport-Bossier City area should be clear this morning, although there is still cleanup from a minor accident at North Market Street and North Hearn Avenue. So watch out for that, and if you see anything else, let us know. Call us on the Planet Fitness traffic hotline at 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Clouds and breaks of sun with a high of 70 today. Tonight turns out clear to partly cloudy, low 47. Sunny, high 70 for tomorrow. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
Hello, beautiful. I'm Amy Erin, founder of
Tell you what, we're a little disorganized, and the real segment doesn't start for a couple of seconds. So this will be the practice segment.
Oh, practice. Okay.
101.7 FM,
3,
710 Keel, Robert J. Wright,
1.
and Erin McCarty. I just, my
Are you intimidated?
My first conflict is, who do I introduce first?
Oh.
Go with him. So, because you've been here a while.
Yeah.
So, State Attorney General Jeff Landry is here, and Congressman Mike Johnson is here. Gentlemen, a pleasure to see you both. Let's be sure the mics are working.
Were we supposed to wear matching jackets today? I didn't get the memo.
Yes.
My bad.
Yeah, where's yours?
I know. I'm sorry.
I mean, you don't look like you said for winter, not spring.
Well, that's a long story. All my clothes are in a pod.
Ask her about her house.
Oh, how's your house?
My house is in disarray. It's
And over
completely way over budget. Yeah.
Ask her about the termites.
We don't want to talk about this. They don't care about that.
Oh, they might. He's the Attorney General. He could have them taken away in little bitty chains.
I could ask him why my.
Oh yeah.
Anybody you like, I guess.
You didn't know that? Like, I'm the panacea for everything.
Oh man, you fix it all. Can you fix the governor's office while you're here?
Well,
no, I mean, boy, you're really challenging me this morning.
Termites might be easier.
Yeah, they might be.
Let's go to break a little early, and these gentlemen will join us for a little bit, just a few minutes when we get back.
Yeah.
7:39, 101.7 FM, 710 Keel traffic and weather updates coming up right now. Here's Brandon.
The Bossier City area should be clear this morning, although there is still cleanup from a minor accident North Market Street and North Hearn Avenue. So watch out for that, and if you see anything else, let us know. Call us on the Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Clouds and breaks of sun with a high of 70 today. Tonight turns out clear to partly cloudy, low 47. Sunny, high 70 for tomorrow. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
It's that time again. The Arklatex.
One 101.7 FM, 710 Keel, Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. It is 7:41. Keel app's a free download from Office Furniture Source. Once again, this is going to be an awesome segment. I can't wait.
Can we pray on the radio, or is that allowed? Is that not allowed?
State Attorney General Jeff Landry is here. Congressman Mike Johnson is here in studio both. You guys had one great big event last night at BIPC. Tell us about that. Tell us how it went. Tell us what you guys talked about.
Oh, it was great. I mean, we actually had two events. We had one in Webster, one in Bossier. The one in Webster went before the one in Bossier. It was great events. And it was an educational event. You know, it was an opportunity for us to discuss with people the fact that your First Amendment does not leave you irrespective of the institution you're going to. So whether you're in a public square, in a public school, you have a First Amendment right.
Mike, what is the biggest, because I know that you have a long history as a constitutional attorney, what is the biggest misunderstanding, not only that parents and or students have about what their rights to prayer are and religious expression, but even more specifically, school administrators and teachers and people in charge?
There's a lot of confusion out there. And there have been some radical, what I call radical secularist organizations that for decades now have engaged in a campaign of fear and intimidation and misinformation. And they have really had some great success. They've confused a whole generation of Americans that they somehow have to surrender their First Amendment freedoms, their right to religious expression at the schoolhouse gate. But that's the exact opposite of what the law says. And what we did at the event last night was remind everybody the law is still on your side. Exercise your rights. You should do it.
Can a kid pray in class?
Of course, yeah.
Out loud, Before he takes a test.
Yeah.
Yes.
The rule of thumb is, and we put it in our publication, Jeff and I co-published this publication, Louisiana Student Rights Review. It's available at his website and at the website istandwithbossier.com. But yes, the answer is yes. Any student-led, student-initiated religious expression is totally constitutional.
But
the
it's
laws
going to
never prevented that.
offend another student in the class, Mike.
Well, right, but as we
Come
explained
on.
last night, the price of free speech and living in a free country is that, oh my goodness, sometimes you have to be exposed to voices and viewpoints that you may not agree with, but that's the beauty of free speech.
Jeff, can the teacher lead the prayer?
Well, no, the teacher can't lead the prayer. That's the big no-no. And of course, that's why, look, it's great to have a partner like Mike. He really is. He helps, I tell people all the time, he kind of helps keep me in between the ditches, you know. Being from South Louisiana, it's hard for me to stay on the road.
Y'all are always on the ditches, yeah.
But, you know, that's why we put this manual together. It's exactly why we put it together, because it can't be initiated by the teachers. But it can be student-led, and that is the number one rule of thumb, is that if it's student-led, if it's student-participated, they can absolutely engage in it. And you got to remember, the First Amendment protects the minorities, right?
Sure.
Maybe someone who's offended by that, as much as it protects the majority to be able to get their point of view and their faith out as well.
Let me ask y'all this, because this bothers me to my core. At a graduation, a high school graduation, they always have a preacher up there and they pray. Is that safe? Is that still safe? Or extracurricular stuff, is that going to be safe?
The courts have ruled on graduation that if it's student-led, student-initiated, so if the valedictorian is chosen to speak at every graduation and the valedictorian gets up and says, you know what, I want to talk about the importance of my faith and how it's guided my academic success, perfectly constitutional. No one can stop them because it's their private speech. The difference is when the speech becomes the speech of the state, quote unquote. Now, student organizations, the other question, can you have a religious club on campus? Absolutely, and the Federal Equal Access Act and the Constitution protect the rights of all these religious organizations to have the exact same access as everybody else.
That is where the biggest misunderstanding is, especially by school administrators and school board members, etc. Because you see at least a couple stories every month where school districts, out of, dare I say, ignorance, are squashing the freedom of expression
out of fear, and that's the whole problem, that we have a generation that has this sort of allergic knee-jerk reaction to all things religious, and oh my gosh, we got to run in and sanitize that out of the public square. Exactly the opposite of what the founders intended, and exactly opposite of what the law requires.
Intimidation is the number one, I would think, tactic used by, what is it, the number one that comes to mind is the Freedom from Religion Foundation.
Those are Mike's buddies.
Right, which is almost like an oxymoron of itself in regards to the First Amendment.
Did you just call someone a moron?
I mean,
be careful.
That doesn't go over well here. Literally, if there is a cloud formation in the shape of a cross over a school, they call and threaten to sue.
No, that's right.
What advice? I know that I don't know what your relationship has been with Mr. Smith or Bossier through all of this.
I used to be one of their lawyers. I've defended them and other school districts around the country on this.
But what advice do you have for school districts who don't want to be intimidated by these bully tactics?
Well, we had the board members in Bossier and Webster stand up at both events yesterday for applause, to encourage them and to really congratulate them for their willingness to take a stand. They are doing that. They understand what the law is, and they're fighting tooth and nail to preserve students' rights to religious expression and all their other freedoms.
Because just because the Freedom from Religion Foundation or some other bluntly put, anti-religious group, just because they might call you doesn't mean necessarily the law's on their side.
Exactly. Absolutely. Right. And they win by default all the time, Robert, around the country, and that's why we need Christian board members and all Americans to understand what the Constitution provides, what the law is, and take that stand where they're able to. And the board is doing that in both of these parishes. We're grateful for it.
Go ahead, Mr. Jeff.
And that's exactly why we put the manual together. The manual is designed not only for students. It says it's titled the Students' Rights Review, but it's important that principals, superintendents, board members, and parents read this manual as well, because it will give them a great understanding of the First Amendment rights that exist inside the schoolhouse.
The big problem I have, Mike and Jeff, is that these lawsuits cost a lot of money. And yet it's great to have school boards that will defend. But that's taking money right out of the class. Money that we could be spending in the classroom.
No, that's exactly right. And so what they have to do is be wise as serpents, gentle as doves, as Scripture would tell us, right? And so they have to stay within the legal guidelines. And when a line has been crossed, they have to acknowledge it and fix it, adopt the policies. Bossier and Webster in the process of revising their written policies that hadn't been updated in a few years. And they're going to do all that. That's going to moot the case. It should. And it should take it out of the taxpayers' concern, and it should get them safely within the lines. But at the same time, they're going to stand vigorously for the students' rights to religious expression, the right to have faith on campus. The Supreme Court says it can happen, and it needs to happen. That's what we're trying to do as well.
So what is next, not only for Bossier, but a lot of school districts and schools across the state? And I would think, based on last night, you made a lot of people feel better to know that the state attorney general's office is behind them.
Exactly. And you know, that was something when I was campaigning 3 years ago, when I would go around the state, I'd talk to superintendents, talk to school board members and parents, and they wanted to know. And this was a project that Mike and I decided to work on together. Like I said, he's a great partner. And we're hoping that this pamphlet, this manual, actually becomes a cornerstone for a movement that allows people to understand their First Amendment rights. And that, guess what? You can live out your faith inside the public square and inside the public schoolhouse.
Let me ask you about this. A football game. I have a kid playing. I would like to hear a prayer over the intercom to pray for the boys that are playing. Is that allowed or not allowed?
If it's student led, you know, look, I grew up in high school.
But you're using the public address system that's paid for by the school board.
But if it's student led, it's certainly a First Amendment right.
Yeah, okay. So the idea is you have welcoming remarks by a student chosen on the basis of neutral criteria. Let's say the student body president or some other selection, and they go to the microphone and they spontaneously say, "I'd like to lead us all in an opening prayer for the players in the game," and they do that. No one can stop them because that's their constitutional right. On the other hand, if the school district sets it up
and puts it in the program and all that,
then it becomes school speech, quote unquote, and that's a different
So y'all
thing.
are giving us a little secret on how to do it around the rules.
Well, we're following the law precisely, and that's exactly see, because Erin, there's so much confusion about it. That's why these events are so important. It was so well attended, and both parishes were so excited about that. That's why these materials are being distributed around the state. Every superintendent going everywhere, and today we're wearing these blue lines on our hands. You see this? Today is the day. All the students in Bossier and Webster are drawing a blue line on their hand to symbolize that they're going to take a stand. And they're going to stand for their rights. They're drawing a line, and that's the big symbolism today. I was at Benton High School just a few moments before I got here. Huge crowd. The FCA there's got a bunch of kids, and they're going around the school drawing lines. It's really a great exercise in free speech and the Constitution.
So what's next for you, and what's next for the Attorney General's office on this topic?
Well, one of the things I would encourage school boards and school board members and superintendents that want to understand exactly what type of policies they can put in place that safeguard students' rights to exercise their faith. They can contact our office. Mike and I will be more than happy to work with them to create policies that will help ward off some of these suits.
Is this a problem across the state, Jeff? I know Bossier's been kind of the epicenter, but do you have this going on in other parishes?
Look, I think it's a problem across the country. I believe there's been this great chilling effect, and people out there are just confused as to what exactly they couldn't do, and they've been intimidated.
Confused and intimidated.
Intimidated.
Right.
Absolutely. There's no doubt that there's been a tremendous amount of pressure from the left to intimidate people to basically squash our faith in and around this country in the public square. But guess what? This is the way that you can know you're right, and you have an opportunity to exercise your right.
What if and let's take the other side, just for grins a minute. What if I'm a family that I'm an atheist? I don't want my child in a classroom where there's student-led prayer or any kind of prayer. What are my options for my child?
They can homeschool.
Well,
I mean, no, look, I mean, the fact of the matter is those parents cannot infringe upon the other students' rights to express their First Amendment, just like we can't infringe upon their right to to profess the fact that they're atheists,
Yeah,
right?
We have this thing in the law called the heckler's veto. There's no such thing as a heckler's veto. The First Amendment does not give you a right not to be offended.
Let me put it more blunt. Hey, snowflake, sit down.
Well, basically, right.
Can I leave the classroom during the prayer? Can we make?
Of course, yeah. Everybody has an equal right. The Christian kid has the same right as the atheist kid, the Buddhist, the Jewish student, whatever. Everybody has the same right. We have to respect one another. We really highlighted that at these events yesterday. I spent a big portion of my talk talking about how we're going to stand for our freedom, but we do it in a respectful manner because we believe in the free marketplace of ideas, and conservatives and Christians are not about censoring and silencing other viewpoints because we don't have to. We want more free speech. We want more vigorous debate because we have enough confidence in the truth. And everybody needs to recognize that. We respect everyone in their right to believe or not to believe. That's part of the beauty of America.
Louisiana State Attorney General Jeff Landry and Congressman Mike Johnson. Gentlemen, great to see you both as always. Doors are always open, and we hope to see you both again soon.
Keep up the great work.
You're running for governor, Jeff?
No.
I gotta ask.
I'm running back to Baton Rouge.
Oh, okay.
7:52. It's 101.7 FM, 710 Keel traffic time. Here's Brandon.
Shreveport-Bossier City area should be clear this morning, although there is still cleanup from a minor accident at North Market Street and North Hearn Avenue. So watch out for that, and if you see anything else, let us know. Call us on the Planet Fitness traffic hotline at 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Clouds and breaks of sun with a high of 70 today. Tonight turns out clear to partly cloudy, low 47. Sunny, high 70 for tomorrow. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zaire.
My name's Betty Mabry, and I'm a patient.
It is 7:54, 101.7 FM and 710 Keel. Sports time. Had to get your head right. Sports time. Here's Fletch.
Hail Mary, full of grace, Explorers would
I'm
too.
not sure you should be praying to the Mother of God to get rid of your termites.
Pray for no roof damage. Can I do that?
I suppose.
Our
I don't know
Father, who art in
I
heaven,
don't know who the patron saint of roofing is.
hallowed be thy roof.
But I'm sure there is one.
Is that sacrilegious?
101.7 FM, 710 Keel, Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. You might want to get a lightning guard, just saying.
Oh, God.
Let's see. Time for Hannity coming up right now on Keel.
Well, my number one concern is that equality in education.
For Gun Talk on Sunday.
We are KEEL, 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Roadways are finally clearing after a minor accident at North Market and Hearn Avenue. Other than that, it should be a very clear drive for you this morning. But if you see any kind of traffic incident whatsoever, let us know. Call us on the Planet Fitness traffic hotline at 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Clouds and breaks of sun with a high of 70 today. Tonight turns out clear to partly cloudy, low 47. Sunny, high 70 for tomorrow. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zaire.
Right now, 51 degrees, 101.7 FM, 710 Keel, 8 o'clock, Fox News.
Breaking news and trending talk. This is 101.7 FM and 710 Keel. KEEL, Shreveport.
Well, my number one concern is that equality in education, and that's just it. That every school, I'm grateful for magnet schools, but all of our schools should be magnet schools, if you would, or have that mentality. So all of our children are being educated and pushed, but it begins at home. Because again, the teachers can teach, but if you have a child that lacks discipline, then there's some challenges there. And we have some great educators in Caddo Parish. And of course, every system has its bunch, but we want to be involved to make sure all of our children are educated. And my number one concern is that we're not competing, Cattle's not competing with Bossier Parish competing with DeSoto Parish. I want our children to compete with China, to compete with India and other nations. We want our children to be prepared for the world. And, you know, we want our children to have a global mentality mindset and not just a local mentality mindset.
You know,
so I want our children to appreciate it, yeah.
And one of, I would think, the purposes of this town hall meeting tomorrow night is to say that sort of the education of the kids, I don't want to say goes both ways, but yeah, goes both ways, that there is a responsibility in the home to prepare the children for the classroom, right?
Oh my gosh, yes, indeed. And I mentioned that yesterday. Oh my gosh, yes, indeed. And I mentioned that yesterday in our worship experiences, that it begins at home. There's some things that we can do with our children. I serve on the Step Forward board and served as one of the founding
From 710 Keel down yonder, Erin's got local news up next.
We're talking about the WWE. It's a wrap in New Orleans. What kind of impact? The governor makes his budget case before the Senate Finance Committee, and a busy day for insurance adjusters and roofers.
Well, and a lot of scam roofers, too.
Oh, yeah.
On the air, I know people that had as many as 5 unsolicited knocks on their doors over the weekend. You know, I can climb up there and check out the damage.
Yeah.
Which is probably extensive.
Oh, yeah.
And will you sign this contract? Fletcher in sports and traffic and weather, and it's all coming up this hour, and it's right here on KEEL. Good morning. It's 13 past 8 o'clock, 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. KEEL app, a free download from Office Furniture Source. Hello, I'm from Virgin Roofers, and I'm here to help. It's called Virgin Roofers because I've never done it before.
Oh, boy.
On average, I know people who have received unsolicited from the hailstorm this week knocks on the door from as many as 5 roofers. Would you like me to
people, if they knock on your door, they're not a roofer, okay? That's just not how they should do business. They're not a reputable roofer.
They might even be roofers, but
that's not how they do business.
But if somebody says they'll climb up there and look, and that there's no need to get the insurance company involved, and then
you want the insurance company involved.
Exactly.
You want them to pay the bill.
So I know somebody who just, as recently as 7 or 8 days ago,
I know that person,
had a new roof installed. So what's the deal? The first thing I thought of when I'm looking out my bedroom window onto my metal roof carport,
right,
and I sound like a Gloria Estefan record, and I'm looking out on the roof on the metal roof, and I'm thinking, wow, I know somebody who just had a roof installed. So what's the story? What's the deal with yours?
Well, I was out of the home during the heavy hail, so I missed it. So I'm not sure how bad it hit in my neighborhood.
You don't know if it was.
But when I got home, I was getting some pea-sized hail. But I have looked at my roof in the parts where I can see it from upstairs, and it looks okay. But I called my buddy who owns a roofing company here in town, a dear friend, and they did the roof, and they're sending over their people today. I said, please put me at the top of your list. She said, you're up there. So they're going out to check my roof today.
It's going to be sunny today. It's not going to rain. You'll be all right.
Yeah, they're going to go check it and see if there's any damage, because this will be one of those claims to my insurance company, if there's damage, that they'll finally go, yes, you're covered.
It's 1 week old.
It's a brand new roof. There's no depreciation. It's brand spanking new. It's in a diaper.
I don't know if this is true or not. The hail in my neighborhood, it wasn't bad.
Did you see the video from the Kroger and from the Moe's? It was like golf balls.
Did you see the video from like about 5 minutes from my house at East Ridge Country Club?
Unbelievable.
It looked like a snowstorm.
Yes.
Somebody had told me that when the insurance company, and look, the Shreveport Security Systems text line is 318-392-1884, if I got this wrong. But somebody told me the way that a lot of insurance companies, a lot of the policies are written, is that they figure your roof is good for 20 years.
Yeah.
So if you need a new roof, they come out and go, well, your roof's 10 years old, we'll pay for half.
Oh, see, I don't like that for people that have that have a roof that it was perfectly fine, and now it's beat to hell.
Except for 10 more years.
Yeah. I did get a text from someone saying some roofing companies, reputable, do knock on doors just to see if you need help. I'm not in favor of that. Don't come knock on my door. I'll call for roofers. I'll look it up online. I'll research it online. I know who I want to call. I don't want people knocking on my door soliciting. I just don't.
Car damage for you?
No, I was under the carport. Thank God.
My brother's vehicle, the chick magnet, the gray
Pinto?
Honda, no.
He got rid of that?
He has a gray Honda Civic. No, he'd never had a Pinto. He had a Ford Escort, a faded red Ford Escort.
Oh yeah, that was
the one.
if
you want girls, that's the car. A faded red Ford Escort, Ford with the windows down.
Oh boy,
and torn seats. No, but he did suffer some hail damage to the chick magnet Honda Civic.
Yeah.
Now I'll tell this story, and I have to eliminate names just because.
This is incredible.
I have some friends, and their daughter was in town visiting from Colorado, and she had flown into Dallas and rented a car.
Okay.
Sniff this one coming?
Yeah.
She had flown into Dallas, rented a car, drove here to visit her family.
Right.
Now, she gets to the airport in Dallas, and she had, I don't know, like the equivalent of a compact.
Okay.
You know, like a Civic or a I don't know what the Toyota equivalent is. Either, and I don't know the specifics of the story, if they were out, if she got a free upgrade, if we'll give you an upgrade for $10, but whatever it was, she drove off of that car rental lot with a 2018 $80,000 Jaguar.
Whoa!
Which this weekend it looks like a golf ball. It is. I mean, it is dimpled. It, for all intents and purposes, is totaled.
Golly.
Here's the deal. She didn't get car rental insurance. In other words, it's on her policy. So whatever, like most people do, well, I don't want to spend another $20 on insurance. And my policy covers it. What could go wrong? Well, her deductible on that policy is about $750. So it's going to cost her about $750 for what originally was like a $29.95 car rental.
Golly.
So I don't know the particulars of car rental company insurance, but it sure legitimizes asking about it before you check that box and waiving the company insurance for $20 more. Like, I know what do you know what your insurance deductible is?
For my house, I do.
No, on your car.
I'm not sure on the car.
Probably $500, $600, $750.
Probably, yeah.
So what is it on a car on car rental company insurance? I don't know. But if $20 will save you $750 or $800 or $1,000,
things never go wrong.
Right? You mean like
Ask
hail?
her, yeah.
Like hail storms on a Jaguar. 19 past 8 o'clock. 101.7 FM, 710 Keel traffic and weather coming up right now. Here's Brandon.
Kings near Captain H.M. Shreve Boulevard has things slowed down in that area. Otherwise, looks like driving is mostly clear in the Shreveport-Bossier City area at this time. But if you see something, make sure you let us know. Call us on the Planet Fitness traffic hotline at 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Clouds and breaks of sun with a high of 70 today. Tonight turns out clear to partly cloudy, low 47. Sunny, high 70 for tomorrow. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
Twenty-one past 8 o'clock. Time for Keel Sports. Here's Tim.
Tim Fletcher. Patrick Reed, a former LHSAA state champ while at University High, won the Masters, holding off Ricky Fowler and Jordan.
Elected officials should resign, but I will say
over 20 women's groups.
Baton Rouge. Now, women's rights groups planning to march on Baton Rouge. We get more from Reuben Wright. Now, women's rights groups planning to march on Baton Rouge.
Over 20 women's groups and organizations will.
A group of Northwest.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Today, clouds will break for a little sun, high near 70. Turning out clear to partly cloudy, low 47 tonight. Sunny, high 70 tomorrow. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
By multiple people should resign. Facebook boss Shreveport police responded to a shooting just before 3 a.m. Sunday morning.
The impact of $181 million.
Facebook boss Mark Zuckerberg set to testify before Congress this week. Senator
.1017 FM, 710 Keel. Robert and Erin, 24 past 8 o'clock. A lot of talk in this country lately about gun control, specifically, what March for Our Lives, which is, or March Against Gun Violence. And we had the discussion on a couple of occasions. I just don't accept that template that if I'm not for the confiscation of weapons or if I am a proponent of the Second Amendment, that I'm in favor of children being shot in schools.
You're for violence, yeah.
And I had talked about, a lot of people in talk radio had about no, we would never think about taking guns, confiscation of all weapons, just some, which I think is a scam. When they talk common sense gun control, it's like common sense border reform or immigration reform or common sense health care. That means we want the government to control everything and take care of you.
Sure.
And if you don't think it can't get to that, here's a headline. London considering, finish the sentence, London considering blank control. Just take a shot.
Gun control.
No, they are. No, you can't get a gun in London.
Knife control.
Yes.
Rationing knives.
After nearly 100 years, blah, 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 gun control, legislators in the largest city in England are looking at knife control as the latest step in trying to dissuade criminally minded citizens from carrying out their nefarious schemes. London's mayor, Sadiq Khan, in fact, used a tweet to go after knives with verbiage similar to gun control rhetoric. He said, this is from his tweet, a quote, "No excuses. There is never a reason to carry a knife."
Wait a minute, you bozo.
I'm just telling you what the mayor of London, Sadiq...
Lots of people carry knives.
There is never a reason to carry a knife.
Oh, my gosh.
Daily Wire, London newspaper, quote, "Parliament is set up to take heavy knife control legislation under consideration when it resumes later this week."
I have one of those Gerber knife thingies that's got pliers and screwdriver and all that stuff on it.
I think this would be like if you're out on the street. I mean, I think you're still...
I carry that in my purse.
Then you would be a
Can
criminal.
I not carry that in?
You would be a criminal.
I need it for lots of things.
The mayor of London says there's never a reason to carry a knife.
Then there's no reason to wrap anything in that hard plastic that you can't get in at all these stores.
The London...
Come on.
It says right here, let me quote again. Once again, the English Parliament is going to take up heavy knife control legislation when they resume meetings later this week. Let me read again. The mayor of London, no excuses. There is never a reason to carry a knife.
OMG.
And I know what you're thinking. Well, wait a second. I didn't do anything wrong. I didn't hurt anybody. I use this for
opening those plastic containers that everything comes in.
So now does when law-abiding citizens who own guns, and they say, wait a second, you're talking about confiscating my weapons? You're talking about confiscating my rifles, my hand? Wait, I didn't do anything. Why are you telling me I have blood on my hands? Does that mean knife owners, when there's knife crime? Does that mean if you've got cutlery at the house that you have blood on your hands?
Oh, my goodness. I got to get rid of my Lennox.
You do understand. You're starting to understand. Maybe this will give folks a little insight.
There goes Oneida stock.
How people who own guns, who are proponents of the second. They just might, wait a second. I didn't hurt anybody. I didn't do anything. Why are you targeting me?
He cannot be serious. It has to be a joke.
No excuses. Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, Google it yourself. There is never a reason to carry a knife.
Come on, you ultra-maroon.
Are y'all insane?
Really?
More on that just a bit later this hour. Also, Patrick Reed wins the Masters. Erin, she's saying he's a horrible human being.
I'm not liking him much. I'm not.
Because
any man who's estranged from their mama is on my S list.
Let me throw this out at you.
I mean, mama's mama.
Do you think that how many people do you think listening? How many people do you think are listening right now? Their wives don't get along with their in-laws, in other words, his parents, and that has caused a rift in the family.
Well, a rift is fine. But to completely banish his family from being at the Masters, they were not, and then they were kicked off of a golf course once they were there by the wife? Come on. At some point, you got to grow a set.
We'll grow our own set in just a couple of seconds and talk about the Masters
and
yesterday.
Tell the wife what lake to jump in.
I was really hoping that Jordan Spieth would make history like it had never been made.
That was incredible.
You know, and
what a run.
I'm going to say this now, and I'll expound on it just a bit. Imagine you are having one of the greatest rounds in the history of major championship golf, except for one shot.
Oh, yeah.
On the last hole. 29 past 8 o'clock, 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Time for traffic just ahead of local news. Here's Brandon.
For the most part, your drive through the Shreveport-Bossier City area should be clear this morning, although there is still cleanup from a minor accident at North Market Street and North Hearn Avenue. So watch out for that, and if you see anything else, let us know. Call us on the Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Clouds and breaks of sun with a high of 70 today. Tonight turns out clear to partly cloudy, low 47. Sunny, high 70 for tomorrow. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zaire.
Ah, spring is finally here. It's the perfect temperature. Let's open the windows and let in the fresh air. Okay, spring's over. Close the windows.
Spring here only lasts a couple of hours. Suddenly it's 90 and humid. Don't get caught with your AC down. Let SBC Air help you get ahead of the game with an HVAC tune-up starting at just $69. Visit SBCAir.com today to find out more. SBC Air. They'll make sure you're ready.
Credit products are made by WebBank. Rates and terms vary based on credit history. Amazon is not a sponsor of this promotion. Other restrictions apply. See website for details.
How did I get into credit card debt? A trip to the emergency room.
Car repairs.
Moving expenses.
There's a million ways to get into credit card debt, but one sure way to start getting out: Avant. Avant offers access to online unsecured loans from $2,000 to $35,000 at competitive rates and no extra charges for paying back early. Over 500,000 customers have experienced the convenience of a loan through Avant. No wonder Avant has an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau. The application takes minutes, and if approved by 4:30 p.m. Central Time Monday through Friday, funds are deposited as soon as the next business day. And now Avant will also give you a $50 Amazon.com gift card after your first payment is made on time. To check your loan options and to get this special radio offer, go to Avant.com today and enter promo code 5656 when applying. That's AVANT.com, promo code 5656. Avant.com, code 5656. The power of information. KEEL News now.
Shreveport police responded to a shooting just before 3 a.m. Sunday morning on Brantway Street. One man was found at the scene with multiple gunshot wounds. He later died of those wounds. Police are investigating now. Roofers will be busy today along with insurance adjusters. Widespread hail reported across the region Friday night. Now, there was also a tornado in DeSoto and Red River parishes. No one hurt, but there have been reports of damage across the region from the EF2 tornado. A fire at a Keachai Baptist Church has the local community stunned. The Mount Sinai Baptist Church was severely damaged by a fire late Saturday night. Fortunately, no one hurt. The investigation into what caused the fire is still active, and police and firefighters are working together for answers. A group of Northwest Louisiana students met to defend their religious rights in school. Reuben Wright with that.
State Attorney General Jeff Landry and United States Congressman Mike Johnson met with students yesterday at the Bossier Parish Community College gym to discuss prayer in school. The Freedom Students Summit, as they call it, kicked off at 6 p.m. last night, where both politicians defended prayer in school and spoke of the constitutional rights to do so. From 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, I'm Reuben Wright.
An LSU survey finds 70% of state residents believe women face a lot or some discrimination in society. That's up 7%. LSU Public Policy Lab Director Dr. Michael Henderson believes the increase can be attributed to reports that Louisiana leads the country in gender pay inequality and the numerous accusations of sexual harassment. He says most of the victims claim they were harassed by someone at the office.
There are obstacles out there that women face that men don't face when it comes to achieving equality in the workplace.
Meantime, women's rights groups plan to march on Baton Rouge this week. Shreveport police responded to a shooting early Sunday morning at Haywood Place and Alton Street. After the report, police found a man with minor injuries in the shooting, suffering at University Health. He claimed he was driving his car when he was fired upon. Gas prices on the rise again. The average price for a gallon of regular up 8 cents over the past 2 weeks to $2.74. Analyst Trilby Lundberg says it's driven primarily by higher crude oil prices.
In this panel of cities in the lower 48 states, Baton Rouge is the low, $2.37 for regular, and the high is San Francisco at $3.63.
The national average is about 30 cents higher than it was a year ago. Louisiana senators opened their budget hearings with grim warnings from the governor that the clock is running out for avoiding steep cuts. Edwards told the Senate Finance Committee he's concerned that too many House lawmakers seem reluctant to acknowledge the gap. Facebook will begin alerting users whose private data may have been compromised in the Cambridge Analytica scandal starting Monday. Some 87 million users whose data might have been shared with Cambridge will get a detailed message informing them. And a Florida high school student who didn't wear a bra one day this week says a school administrator told her to cover up because she was distracting her classmates. The girl says she was humiliated when the dean called her in and asked her to put on a cover-up shirt. I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Hi, this is Troy Jones.
.836, Robert and Erin, 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. So Patrick Reed won the Masters, and Erin thinks he's a stinker.
Well,
he is alienated from his family. Yes, he is.
Yes, he has. He doesn't speak to his mother, father, sister at all.
Yeah.
He's had run-ins with the law when he was in college, and he's still young. What is he? 26?
29, I think 27 or 29. Yeah.
He left Georgia, went to Augusta.
See, look at your
state.
Here you are. The guy had the greatest day of his life, and
that's wonderful, and I congratulate him for that.
And many others in the media are already looking to destroy him.
He's a poo-poo.
How do you know? That's
because I know the story. I've read the story about him, and his family lives in Augusta.
Yeah.
They live there.
Right.
They were not allowed to come watch him play and win the Masters.
If they'd bought tickets, they could have gotten in.
No, he had them kicked off.
That was
last time he was doing well at a tournament.
Not arguing that at all.
He would have kicked them out of Augusta.
He had security remove them.
Yes.
Because
Who does that to your family?
Your mom and dad who hate your wife.
Not necessarily that way if you read it.
I'm just saying.
They asked him to reconsider. He was too young when he got married. He was like 22.
And he said, no, this is the woman for me. I love her.
And did not invite them to the wedding. He did not invite them.
Because they hate her.
No, it's not hate.
What would
read the story. It's more coming the other way. It's coming from the wife.
I don't know the facts. You don't know the facts.
I read a bunch about it last night because I was so angry at him.
It's one side of the story.
I just think this is just my two, and you may be estranged from your mother-in-law or whatever. Somebody that's listening might be.
You are the exact kind of person they wrote this for.
I don't think there's anything that should keep you from having contact with your parents and your siblings. Nothing. Regardless of your wife, I don't care. You need to tell your wife, shut the hell up. This is my family. I love them.
But what if you love her more?
You have to be able to share the love. You cannot write your mother off. You just can't.
Going back to KVKI, we spent a day on this very topic, and it was, I had noticed over a short period of time how many people I knew who literally did not speak to members of their family.
I find that so bizarre to me.
And I had told you the story about a fellow that I know that after their parents died, he and his brother got into a fight over who was going to get that mom and dad's house.
Mm-hmm.
And they had not spoken to each other for more than a decade.
Golly, that's so crazy to me.
There are way more people out there. But remember, and you know this better than anybody, there's two sides to every divorce.
Oh, absolutely. But I just think you have to find a way to pray your way through it. Family is family. That is the number one thing on earth.
839, 1017 FM, 710 Keel. Maybe we should bring in a minister to pray for the forgiveness of the governor of Louisiana.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, we'll talk about that when we get back. In the meantime, here's Brandon.
For the most part, your drive through the Shreveport-Bossier City area should be clear this morning, although there is still cleanup from a minor accident at North Market Street and North Hearn Avenue. So watch out for that, and if you see anything else, let us know. Call us on the Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Today, clouds will break for a little sun, high near 70. Turning out clear to partly cloudy, low 47 tonight, sunny, high 70 tomorrow. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zaire.
Want to sell to Barksdale and secure
.117 FM, 710 Keel. Robert J. Wright, Erin McCarty, 18 away from 9 o'clock. So, pardon me, if you're keeping score, it's tied at 1 apiece.
Yeah, you tied it up Friday.
Robert J. Wright 1, Erin McCarty 1. It was about, and you guys know the story, but you don't know the whole story. about a month and a half or so ago, we had State Representative Dodie Horton in studio. And John Bell, he called another special session. Governor Edwards had called another special session, and they were getting ready to go. And it had to do with raising taxes and the governor wanting to raise taxes. And there were a whole bunch of proposed revenue enhancements, as they call them, on the table. And I think the phrase you used was, the sentence you said was does the governor think you're a bunch of morons, meaning the state legislature? Does the governor think you're a bunch of morons, or is he a moron? And of course,
they didn't like that.
Well, we put the interview up on the website, as we do all the really good interviews. And within a couple of days, you got a call from the governor's office saying, what the heck?
Yeah.
Did you call the governor a moron? And you said, I'm sorry.
That was disrespectful.
Then you started thinking about it, and you thought, well, I didn't call. I inquired as to his
moronness.
Intellect.
Mm-hmm.
Well, evidently, the people in the governor's office care a lot more about his sanity than they do his intellect.
Yeah.
Because last week early on with State Representative Raymond Cruz,
mm-hmm.
and I would say in the course of a year, and I don't think I'm exaggerating too much here.
No.
If in the course of a year, if I say if 5 things come out that I didn't mean, that came out, if 5 things
just flung,
like right now.
Yeah.
If 5 things don't come out the way I intend, that's a lot.
Yeah, you don't do it very often.
Where you, on
I'm
the other
queen
hand,
of it.
It's at least, I would say, minimum 2 or 3 times a month.
I was thinking 2 or 3 times a day.
Like the thing with Dodie. Well, with the question to Mr. Raymond about the governor, what I meant to say was,
mm-hmm.
what I meant to say was, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result. Well, after that's where I started to come off the rails.
Yeah, here's what you actually said.
Wait. I know what
I
said.
Come on.
I don't see a purpose of playing
I
this.
see the bus coming. Let me throw you.
I don't see a need to play this again.
I do.
The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. Is John Bell insane?
That may have been what I said.
Is John Bell insane?
I was taken out of context.
Sure you were.
So the point being that what I meant to say was...
What I had meant to say was...
What I intended to say was, is it crazy to call another special session? Is it insane to call it? But you know, I did. I said what I said.
You did.
And I'm falling back on the I'm taken out of context and or the standard 21st century apology, which is basically, that's not who I am. That's not who I am. What's the second one? That's not who I am. Let's move on. Oh, I take full responsibility.
I take full responsibility.
So
that's your apology.
That's not who I am. I take responsibility, and let's move on.
Let's move on, yeah. But my problem with that is that this time, not only did they call me, but they called...
It trickled down to you.
Yeah, they called our direct supervisor. Then they called our general manager.
Yeah.
They sent emails to our general manager. I'm just going to tell you that our folks have our back for the most part. I don't think we're going to get called into the red office today. But I talked at length to his communications director, and I said, look, our audience, we reflect a lot of what our audience is thinking and feeling, and they're anti-tax, and a lot of them are anti-John Bell. And she said, I understand. I said, we're not going to agree with him about a lot of things. She said, I understand that, but that's disrespectful.
See, I heard Erin.
We've always tried to help you.
This is the second time I've had to call about something.
Yeah.
As though we were, in the principles.
We go to the back of the class.
Yeah.
Yeah. Poor thing.
So...
You know what? This is a show. This is not a news show where we're telling every side of every story. That's not what we do.
What do you think the purpose of those calls? Was it to intimidate? Was it to make us think for an instant before? Look, I'm not busting on John Bell here. I'm not busting really on anybody because it's people doing their job. I don't think he even knows, and if he knew, I'm not sure he'd care.
It's his people protecting him, and here's what I think that message to me was.
And hoping to intimidate just a little bit, so that next time when something like this comes up, and you're right into that, do I want to say this or do I not? Maybe for an instant you'll think, well, I don't want to go through that hassle of talking to the governor's office again.
I think what the message to us was, y'all might not get to have the governor on as often as you're used to. Well, we haven't had him much. We haven't had him much, to be honest. And you know, he's a good interview sometimes, but sometimes he just wants to get his point across, and we don't get a chance to talk to him. So, you know, if we don't get to talk to the governor,
be careful. Be careful. I feel the ice is a little. You're about to win. You're about to win the 2 out of 3.
I'm gonna need to go get therapy. I don't get to speak to JPZ anymore.
This is not going to end well.
I'm so sad.
Let's just go to break now before
the phone rings.
No, yeah, exactly. 848 101. Oh, I don't have time to tell that story about my buddy in Los Angeles. Yes, I do. Can I do it in 90 seconds? Okay, so I've got a friend of mine who lives in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
He's a TV weather guy named Fritz Coleman. He's been there 30 years. He makes about $1 million a year. And we're texting back and forth last night, and I said, what's up? And he's like, well, I just signed a new contract, and he does stand-up comedy on the weekends. He goes, I'm doing this MC at the Hollywood Bowl.
Oh, man.
And then
what happened to your life?
Then he's talking, and then things are going really well for him.
Yeah.
And he says, so what's new with you? And I'm thinking, I got a $1 million a year job. He's emceeing at the Hollywood Bowl.
He's got it going on.
And so I said, well, I'll have you know, mister, I got a call from the governor's office. 849, 1017 FM, 710 Keel traffic time. Here's Brandon.
Roadways are finally clearing after a minor accident at North Market and Hearn Avenue. Other than that, it should be a very clear drive for you this morning. But if you see any kind of traffic incident whatsoever, let us know. Call us on the Planet Fitness traffic hotline at 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Today, clouds will break for a little sun, high near 70. Turning out clear to partly cloudy, low 47 tonight, sunny, high 70 tomorrow. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zaire.
Right now, 51, it's 1017 FM and 710 Keel. It is time for Your Money Now. Ooh, here we go. 852, 1017 FM, 710 Keel traffic. No. Sports update. Here's Fletch.
Good morning from the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger. This is Tim Fletcher. Patrick Reed, a former LHSAA state champ while at University High, won the Masters, holding off Ricky Fowler and Jordan Spieth to claim his first major championship. Reed finished 15 under par, one shot clear of Fowler, whose birdie on 18 turned up the pressure on Reed 2 holes back. Reed parred 17 after his birdie stab from 90 feet banged the flag, preventing a much longer par putt. but needing a two-putt on 18 from 30 feet to win, Reed holed a slippery four-footer to win for the 6th time ever on tour. Former champ Jordan Spieth charged up the leaderboard after beginning Sunday 9 shots behind Reed. Spieth tied Reed with a birdie on 16, but parred 17, and then his tee shot hit a tree limb on 18, and that left him too far back. He ended up bogeying 18 to finish 2 shots off the pace. Toronto homered twice in the first inning off Cole Hamels to grab a 4-0 lead on the way to a 7-4 win over the Rangers in Arlington Sunday. Charlie Morton didn't allow an earned run in 6 innings of work, and Max Stassi clubbed a 3-run homer to lead Houston to a 4-1 win over San Diego. From the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger, this is Tim Fletcher.
Robert J. Wright, Erin McCarty here again for Twin City Appliance, online at twincityappliance.com. Erin said, I've got this. Erin, I'm a little worried.
You know, if anyone can have problems around the house now,
it would be you.
It's me.
What's the latest?
I decide that I'm going to undertake the clean the oven thing. You know, where you put the oven stuff in there.
Twin City Appliance repairs appliances.
They don't clean them, I know.
They don't clean appliances.
Well, they might need to fix this appliance now, because when you put the oven cleaner on and you have an oven cleaner setting on your oven, it locks you out unless you break it. And then you realize you broke your oven because you didn't realize you were locked out because it's got an oven cleaning setting that locks you out.
So one of the things Twin City Appliance can do is fix that little TV-size window there on the front door of your oven.
Yeah, just in case you punched it to get in your oven.
Twin City Appliance, they don't clean appliances, they don't sell appliances, but they repair all major home appliances, from refrigerators and freezers and microwaves and ovens and more.
Even ovens with holes in them. Twin City Appliance can fix them. Give them a call today, 318-688-0253.
And they don't ask any questions.
Check them out online, twincityappliance.com.
It's that time again. The Arclet.
This is kind of ironic. No, in honor of Patrick Reed, Masters winner, today's KEEL cash code word is family. Family. It's your chance at $5,000. Perfect timing. Got to go.
Peace out. I didn't say the other word.
No, and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And so does the governor. Back tomorrow morning, 6 till 9. Robert J. Wright, Erin McCarty, 1017 FM, 710 KEEL. Here's Kim Commando. 8:59, 101.7 FM, 710 Keel traffic time.
For the most part, your drive through the Shreveport-Bossier City area should be clear this morning, although there is still cleanup from a minor accident at North Market Street and North Hearn Avenue. So watch out for that, and if you see anything else, let us know. Call us on the Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Today, clouds will break for a little sun, high near 70. Turning out clear to partly cloudy, low 47 tonight, sunny, high 70 tomorrow. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zare.
News and trending talk. This is 101.7 FM and 710 Keel. KEEL, Shreveport.